I am stockpiling these 10 foods right now, because if everything gets disrupted, you will not have time to prepare again. Food prices have risen. Supply chains have been disrupted multiple times, and it only takes one major event for shelves to go empty within days, faster than you think. You may be able to prepare food for a whole month, but if just one thing is missing for a few days, everything can become meaningless. You may still be eating enough every day, but after just 1 to 2 weeks, your body starts to slow down. Fatigue lingers. Even simple tasks become difficult, not because of a lack of food, but because of a lack of the right things. In this list, item number 7 does not make you feel fuller, but it determines whether you still have enough energy to keep going or are forced to stop. Most people ignore it until they start paying the price, and by then, it is often too late. You do not die from lack of food. You die from preparing the wrong things. 10. Rice. The one thing I always stockpile first, I always stockpile rice before anything else. Because in any disruption, you will quickly realize one thing. The most basic items always disappear first, and rice is almost always among them. A 25-pound bag of rice contains more than 40,000 calories, but more importantly, it represents time. Time for you to keep going when everything around you starts running short. You can finish a meal in a few minutes, but rice, if used properly, can last for weeks. And in a real crisis, the difference between a few minutes and a few weeks is the difference between panic and control. This is not an assumption. It has happened many times when supply chains were disrupted, when transportation was halted, and in those moments, people do not turn to complicated meals. They return to the simplest thing that can keep them alive day by day, and that is usually rice. You do not need much to use it. Just water and a little salt is enough to survive longer than you think. But this is the mistake that many people make. They stockpile rice and think that is enough. It is not. You may have enough calories, but your body will still weaken if it lacks protein and essential micronutrients. Energy gradually declines, immunity drops, and after a short time, even simple tasks become more difficult. And there is another risk that many people overlook. If stored incorrectly, all that rice can be ruined faster than you think by moisture, insects, and air. Just one small mistake, and you could lose your entire food supply. But if stored properly, airtight with oxygen control, rice can last for decades. And in a crisis, that is the line between having food and having nothing at all. And this is the most important part. You may stockpile a lot of food, but if you rely only on rice, your body will not be able to sustain itself long term. Rice helps you survive, but it is not enough to keep you healthy. That is why, for me, rice never stands alone. It always goes with something else. The biggest mistake is not a lack, but thinking you already have enough. Something cheap, easy to find, but when combined can create an almost complete nutritional foundation. And if you ignore it, you will clearly see the price in just a few weeks. That is exactly the next item on this list. 9. Dry beans. The thing that keeps my body from breaking down in a crisis. I do not stockpile just to avoid hunger. I stockpile so my body does not break down. And that is why dry beans are always on my list. You may have enough food to feel full, but that does not mean your body is strong enough to last long term. Calories help you survive, but protein is what keeps your body from weakening. If you lack protein for just a few weeks, muscle begins to decline. You get tired faster, slower, and even simple tasks become difficult. For older adults, this happens faster than you think. I always imagine a very real situation. The power is out, there's no fresh food left, and I have to cook with whatever remains. At that moment, a pot of beans with rice does not just keep me full, it keeps me strong enough to keep going. Dry beans have an advantage that few foods have. Each serving can provide about 15 grams of protein, nearly equal to a small portion of meat, but much easier to store. It also helps keep energy stable, without causing the body to crash like refined foods. But here is the part many people overlook. Dry beans take time to cook. If you are not prepared, you will spend a lot of time and fuel, and in a stressful situation, that is the last thing you want. That is why I always soak them in advance, or have a faster cooking method, so I am not caught off guard when needed. These small details may not matter in normal times, but in a crisis, they determine whether you stay in control or not. And this is something I have clearly realized. Having food is not enough. Some things help you get through the day, but others give you the strength to keep going in the days after. Beans are that line. But even if you have enough energy and strength, there is still another factor many people overlook. Something that is not about nutrition, but determines whether you can maintain your mental state. And that is the next item, 8. Canned meat. The thing I use when there is no time left. I do not just stockpile to have something to eat. I stockpile for moments when there is no time left to think. Because in a crisis, the problem is not whether you have food. It is whether you can eat immediately. When everything is suddenly disrupted, the power is out, the space is dark, the mind is under stress, you do not have 30 minutes to cook. You only have a few minutes to keep yourself stable. And at that moment, rice and beans are still there. But they do not help me immediately. Canned meat does. In moments like that, the most valuable thing is not food, but food that can be used right away. I do not need a stove. I do not need electricity. I do not need preparation. Just open the lid, and within seconds, I can eat. A can of meat or fish provides about 20 to 25 grams of protein, along with hundreds of calories. Enough to keep my energy up and, more importantly, to keep my mind clear. Because in that situation, I am not eating for taste. I am eating to stay on my feet. For me, this becomes even clearer when thinking about times when the body is not at its best. When you are tired, stressed, or no longer have the strength to cook, having to prepare a meal can become a burden. Canned meat removes that completely. No waiting, no extra energy spent, just eat and keep going. But this is what many people do not prepare. They have food, but not something they can use immediately. And when the situation happens, they lose time, and then lose their calm as well. One small detail I always pay attention to is that canned meat also contains liquid, helping me reduce the need to use water when necessary. It may sound insignificant, but in a crisis, small details are what create big differences. However, I do not stockpile randomly. I always check expiration dates, avoid damaged cans, and rotate supplies to make sure they are ready to use when needed. Because in reality, you do not get a chance to fix mistakes once everything has already started. And this is what I have realized. In a crisis, you do not always have time to wait. You need things that work immediately. But even if you have food ready in your hands, there is still another factor that many people are completely unprepared for. And when it happens, many people do not collapse from hunger, but because they no longer have enough calm to keep going. 7. Salt. The small thing that keeps me standing when the body starts to break down, I always stockpile salt. Not because it is cheap, but because it is something my body cannot go without when things start to spiral out of control. In a crisis, salt is not just a seasoning. It is what keeps my body functioning. You may still have food, still have water, but if your electrolytes are out of balance, your body can still collapse very quickly. I imagine a day without power, the heat rising, no fan, no air conditioning. I am still eating, still drinking, but my body starts to feel different, more tired, slightly dizzy, my limbs gradually weakening. Not because of a lack of food, but because I am losing electrolytes through sweat without realizing it. The scary part is that this can happen in just 1 to 2 days, much faster than going without food. With just a small amount of salt, I can help my body retain water, maintain the nervous system, and most importantly, keep my mind clear. Because in a crisis, losing clarity means losing everything. For older adults, this is even more dangerous. Dizziness, loss of balance, exhaustion, all of it can come very quickly if salt is lacking. But for me, salt is not only for maintaining the body, it is also a tool to extend the life of food. Without electricity, I can still cure meat, salt fish, and preserve food for many days, even weeks. When supply chains are disrupted, this ability is not a convenience, it is an advantage. And this is something I always remember. There are people who prepared plenty of rice, beans, and canned food. But after just a few days, they started feeling dizzy, growing weaker, not understanding what was happening. The problem was not the food. The problem was that they forgot salt. They had everything, but their body was no longer functioning properly. Salt does not take up space, it is not expensive, and it almost never spoils. But its true value only shows when your body starts to lose control. And when that happens, you will no longer be clear-headed enough to make use of what you prepared. So I always ask myself one simple question. If my body cannot maintain balance, how long can everything I have stored actually keep me going? 6. Honey, the thing that keeps you from collapsing even when you still have food. Honey is one of the very few foods that almost never spoils. Archaeologists have found honey in ancient Egyptian tombs over 3,000 years old, and it was still usable. That may sound hard to believe, but honey has natural antibacterial properties that allow it to last almost indefinitely if stored properly. But what makes honey special is not how long it lasts, but something many people are not prepared for. In a crisis, you are not just fighting hunger. You are fighting the feeling of wanting to give up. After a few days of constant stress, lack of sleep, pressure, a changing environment, you still have food, still have rice, still have canned goods. But you begin to feel prolonged fatigue. You no longer want to cook. You no longer want to eat. Not because you are full, but because your body and mind are exhausted. And the scary part is that this state often begins after just a few days, much faster than running out of food. There are people who do not collapse because they run out of food, but because they no longer have the mental energy to keep going. That is when honey becomes different. Just 1 spoonful of honey can provide about 60 to 70 calories of quick energy, enough for your body to respond almost immediately. No cooking, no preparation, no effort. You just take it, and within minutes your body begins to change. Your mind becomes clearer. But more importantly, it is the feeling it brings. A little sweetness in a stressful moment can calm your mind, help you stay composed, and pull you out of a state of exhaustion. It may sound small, but in reality, It is what keeps many people from falling deeper. I still had food. But there was a day when I did not want to eat anything. I just sat there, exhausted, with no motivation to do anything. The only thing I could take was a little honey. It did not fix everything immediately, but it was enough to get me up and move on to the next task. You can prepare a lot of food, but if you no longer want to eat or no longer have the energy to use what you have, then all that preparation starts to lose its meaning. And when you no longer want to keep going, you will not use what you prepared. Honey is not just food. It is a way to bring your body back into a functioning state, helping you hold on to a bit of control when everything around you is starting to fall apart. And when you lose that, you are not just losing energy, you are starting to lose the ability to keep going. 5. Ghee, or animal fat, long-lasting fat. The energy source that determines how long you can endure. Fat is often not prioritized when planning stockpiles. Most people choose rice, pasta, or canned goods because they are convenient and easy to store. But there is a reality that few people notice. You can eat enough meals, but still fail to maintain your strength over extended days. 1 gram of fat provides about 9 calories, nearly double that of carbohydrates. In other words, without fat, you would need to consume almost twice the amount of food to reach the same level of energy. And in a situation where resources are limited, that is not a small difference. It is a very large gap. Types like ghee, duck fat, and beef tallow can last for months if stored properly. But their real value is not in how long they last. It is in their ability to maintain stable energy levels for the body. There is a story I once heard from someone who had prepared quite carefully for an emergency. He stockpiled enough carbohydrates and canned food. Everything seemed ready. The first days went by steadily. Meals were consistent. Nothing was lacking. But after just a few days, a problem began to appear. Not hunger, but a prolonged state of sluggishness. The body became slower, reactions dulled. Every task required more effort than usual. What was confusing was that the food portions had not decreased. He thought it was just stress. But after a few more days, the condition continued, and by around 1 to 2 weeks, the decline became more noticeable. Until he changed one very small detail, adding more fat into his daily intake. The difference did not come immediately, but it was clear enough to notice. Energy no longer dropped as quickly as before. The body was able to maintain stability for longer. Even simple tasks no longer felt as heavy as they had just a few days earlier. That was when he realized the problem was not the amount of food, but the energy structure of the meals. That is also a common mistake. It is not a lack of food, but a lack of the right energy source to sustain activity over time. Carbohydrates can make you rise quickly, but also crash quickly. Meanwhile, fat acts as a more stable reserve, helping the body maintain its rhythm instead of constantly falling into energy drops. What is concerning is that this process does not happen suddenly. It develops gradually, hard to notice, until you begin to feel that everything is becoming heavier than usual. And when that state appears, you will no longer have enough energy to make use of what you prepared in advance. You may have plenty of food around you, but without fat, you will not be able to maintain the level of energy needed to use it effectively. And when the body starts to decline, you usually only realize it when things have already become much harder to manage. 4. Dried vegetables. The thing that weakens your body without you realizing it. Many people, when stockpiling food, think very simply, as long as there is enough to eat, it is fine. Rice, pasta, canned goods, as long as they do not go hungry. But there is a truth that very few people notice. Your body does not only need energy to survive, it needs what allows it to function properly every day. And that is where the problem begins. Your body needs dozens of vitamins and minerals, but most of them cannot be produced on their own. If they are lacking, you can still eat 3 full meals a day. But inside, everything begins to change in ways you cannot see. The most dangerous part is, you will not realize it immediately. In the first few days, everything still seems fine. You are still eating, still functioning normally, still feeling like you have prepared well. But after about 10 to 14 days, your body can start to decline. Even though your food supply has not decreased, you feel tired more quickly, recover more slowly, and tasks that were once simple suddenly become heavier. But because you are still eating enough, you do not think the problem is the food. And that is the trap. There was someone who once shared that during a difficult period, he had prepared very carefully. Food was always sufficient. He never ran out. But after about 2 weeks, he began to feel that his body was not the same as before. There was no clear illness, no specific pain, just a sense of weakness, slowing down, and difficulty recovering after each day. At first he thought it was due to age, but then he tried changing one small thing, adding vegetables to his diet. Not fresh vegetables, but simple things like dried carrots, dried mushrooms, seaweed, or dried onions. Just a small amount each day. But within a few days, his body began to stabilize again. That was when he realized something. He had never lacked food. He had only lacked what his body truly needed. Your body does not collapse from hunger. It collapses because you do not understand what it needs. Dried vegetables do not fill you up, but they are what keep your body from silently breaking down from the inside. They provide micronutrients that most stored foods lack, helping the body maintain stability, especially over extended periods. And the frightening part is, this process happens faster than you think, yet so quietly that you do not notice it. You are still eating, you are still alive, but your body is no longer strong enough to keep going for long. And when you begin to realize it, you are already one step behind. Because when your body starts to weaken, you do not just lose strength, you lose the ability to make use of what you prepared in the first place. 3. Nutritional yeast. When your body no longer knows how to use energy, many people think that as long as they store enough food, the body will be fine. Rice, pasta, canned goods, as long as they do not go hungry. But there is a truth few people realize. You can still eat enough every day, and still gradually become tired, lose focus, and even not understand what is happening to yourself. The problem is not how much you eat, but whether your body can actually use that energy. B vitamins play a role in almost every part of the energy metabolism process. Without them, your body is like a machine that still has fuel, but cannot function properly. That means even if you are still consuming enough calories every day, you can still fall into a state of real energy deficiency. And the frightening part is, this process does not happen in an obvious way. The first signs can begin very lightly after just a few days. You feel slightly sluggish, less focused than usual, but not serious enough to pay attention to. And then after about 2 to 3 weeks, everything becomes clearer. You experience prolonged fatigue, become more irritable, your thinking slows down, and even simple decisions start to feel difficult. But because you are still eating enough, you do not think the problem is nutrition. There was someone who once shared that during a difficult period, he had prepared very carefully. Food was not lacking. Meals were still consistent every day. But after just a few weeks, he realized he could no longer maintain the same level of clarity as before. He forgot more, processed things more slowly, and was constantly in a state of fatigue. At first, he thought it was just stress, but then he tried adding one very small thing to his diet: nutritional yeast. Just a few spoonfuls a day, without changing much in his meals. But after a short time, he began to feel the difference. His body became more stable, his mind clearer, and the feeling of exhaustion gradually faded. That was when he realized the problem was not a lack of food, but that his body could not use energy properly. Nutritional yeast is not something that fills you up. It is not a primary energy source, but it is what helps your body function smoothly, helping you maintain clarity and stabilize the nervous system, especially over extended periods. And the most dangerous part is, by the time you start to realize something is wrong, your body has already declined enough that you no longer have the same level of control. And when you are no longer clear-headed, you will not be able to make the right decisions, even if you have prepared everything in advance. So the question is no longer whether you have stored enough, but whether your body can actually use what you have prepared. 2. Dried spices. The thing that helps you eat properly, not just eat enough. In a prolonged crisis, many people think that having enough food is enough. But the problem does not begin with a lack of food. It begins with how you eat. In the first days, everything feels normal. You eat on time, you eat enough. But when the same flavors repeat day after day, your brain starts to react in a very subtle way. You delay meals a little longer, eat faster, or sometimes skip a meal simply because you do not feel that hungry. Nothing seems serious at first, but these small changes begin to break your eating rhythm. After just a few days, your body gradually loses its stability. The feeling of hunger is no longer clear. Energy fluctuates unpredictably, and you are no longer eating based on your body's actual needs. And the dangerous part is that you do not realize you are eating less. Just a reduction of about 20 to 30% in your daily intake is enough for the body to begin weakening noticeably after 1 to 2 weeks, even though food is still available. You do not collapse from a lack of food. You become exhausted because you are no longer eating properly. Dried spices do not make you fuller, but they give your meals a reason to continue. Just a small change in flavor makes the same ingredients no longer feel identical to the day before, and your brain accepts eating again. It may sound minor, but it keeps your eating habits from breaking down. And in a prolonged situation, maintaining a consistent eating rhythm every day matters far more than how much food you have. Because when you start eating irregularly, you do not just lose energy, you lose control. And once your eating habits are disrupted, what you prepared beforehand will no longer deliver its full value. Are you sure you will eat consistently every day? Or after just a few days, everything has already started to change without you realizing it? 1. Water. The thing that determines how much time you have left. You can survive for weeks without food, but only about 3 days without water. And in hot or stressful conditions, that number becomes even shorter. This is not theory. It is a biological limit of the body. Water is not just for quenching thirst. It affects almost every vital function, from the brain, circulation, to the ability to stay alert. When water is lacking, the body does not decline slowly. It deteriorates rapidly. After just 24 hours, you already begin to feel fatigued and lose focus. After 48 to 72 hours, the condition can become serious. The important thing is that you do not lose water in an obvious way. You lose it little by little each day, through sweat, breathing, and normal activities. In harsh environments, this can reach several liters per day without you realizing it. You may stockpile enough food for weeks, even months, but just a few days without water, and almost all of it loses its meaning. And more dangerously, by the time you realize you are lacking water, you are often already very close to the limit, where the body no longer has enough strength to recover in time. So storing water alone is not enough. You need a way to produce clean water when needed. And when everything stops, the most important question is, how much water do you have left? If the answer is not much, you may be preparing in the wrong order. Looking back at this list, you will see something simple. Most of these are familiar, inexpensive, and easy to find. But in a crisis, the problem is not how much you have. It is whether you prepared the right things. You do not need to do everything immediately, but you need to start with the most important things, the ones that help your body maintain energy and clarity when everything around you becomes unstable. Because when that happens, the people who stay calm are not the strongest. They are the ones who prepared in advance. So if everything changes tomorrow, how ready are you really? If you found this video helpful, share it and leave a comment to let me know what you want to prepare next.